Nancy Heuther. She's the Bridge Management Engineer for North Dakota DOT. So welcome and thank you.
Well, good morning. It is great to see all of you here. Great to be here. And thank you to the Western Bridge Partnership for working with us to combine this, providing this wonderful venue for the conference. I'm going to talk about some of the changes that we have gone through at the North Dakota DOT with our bridge management program, including inspections, load rating, preservation, and the bridge management itself. So first I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of North Dakota. Overall, as a state, we're kind of average size. It's about 200 miles north to south, 350 miles east-west. We have a couple of major interstates. I-94 goes through the kind of the south-central part of the state, which you can kind of see there with the line of bridges. And the I-29 goes right up the Red River Valley way on the eastern side of the state. We have a total of about 4,900 bridges that we inspect. 1,750 of those are in the state system. Local agency has about 3,150. We have about 8,600 miles of state highways. And as far as employees, we have about 385 full-time employees currently at the central office, about 564 in the districts. The numbers in parentheses are the total number of budgeted positions that we have. We have a total of about 953 full-time employees, and the one thing that does include motor vehicle and driver's license, which DOTs are all done differently, and so I think we have around 120 driver's license and motor vehicle positions. So this is a little bit of a look at the bridge division. Within bridge division, we have 3 sections. We have the bridge design, we have the preliminary engineering and hydraulics section is within our bridge division at the DOT, and then we have the bridge structure management section. In the bridge design group, we have 4 engineers, including plus the bridge design engineer and a couple of project managers. Preliminary engineering and hydraulics, we have a total of 4 engineers. Our section, we have 3 engineers, 4 inspectors, and then we have a dotted line to consultant inspectors. What were the changes? Well, early in 2018, this was the bridge management section at the DOT. We had our bridge management engineer, and then we had one other engineer, and that was me, 2 project managers. And all of our inspections were done by the districts. We had around 30 or so district team leaders, but they all functioned within the district, so we didn't really have any, they weren't under our supervision at all. In late of 2018, our structure management engineer retired. Within a year, one before and one shortly after that, 2 of the other project managers also retired. So I moved into the bridge structure management position, and then we took the opportunity to reclassify the positions. So we ended up with, hold them all in as engineers. We, primary duties are inspections, load rating, and data management. And we have also preservation, which is kind of shared by everyone. And the other thing, one of the things that happened with the retirements that we realized is that everybody was pretty siloed in what they did. And so when these people left, I had very little experience with load rating or the inspection program. I pretty much did preservation and bridge management. And so it was a real challenge. There were lots of things that we needed to learn, that I needed to learn and learn quickly. And in addition to that, when we filled these positions, we filled them with engineers and good engineers, but none of them had any bridge experience. In addition to that, in 2019, we decided that the bridge inspection program was not functioning the way that it needed to function. They reassigned 4 positions to bridge division, and we got basically 2 teams for inspections. And then at the same time, we knew that there was no way we could do all of the inspections with that. So all of the local agencies and a few of the state bridges, all those inspections were consulted. The first, like I said, the two programs that probably were in programs that we really needed to concentrate on were the bridge inspection program and the load rating program. We had many PCAs for both of the programs. We just knew that we needed to make a lot of changes and updates. We developed a bridge inspection manual. We developed a load rating manual. Our bridge inspection manual hadn't been updated since, well, it was minor updates in 13 and 15, but very minor. Really, it was 2009. And our load rating manual, we had never really had a specific load rating manual for the DOT. We relied on the MBE and all of the other guidance, and that was basically what it was. So currently we have these manuals. They have already gone through several revisions. We will continue to update them at least yearly and sometimes more frequently if we need to. We are also in the process of the bridge inspection program. Previously the districts did it. There were a couple of major issues with that. The first is the staff there, they were certified team leaders, but they did bridge inspections part-time. Not only was it not their full-time focus, so they could get really good at it, but it was also in conflict with their other jobs that they had to do. They had a lot of construction inspections. The majority were also construction inspectors. All of the bridge inspections had to be done between April and November, and that's exactly the time frame that all of the construction is going on. And so it really became a conflict. There were some additional staff reductions. You all know how that is if you're with the DOT. It seems like we constantly are dealing with reduced staff. Basically, something had to change. So that was, like I said, we split the inspections between the state program and the local agency program. For the state inspections, we decided that we were going to keep all of our goal was to keep all of the state bridges inspected by our inspectors. It was a way for us to kind of help maintain continuity with those, since we also manage those structures. After we started doing some thorough review of that, we decided with 4 inspectors and just 2 teams, we weren't going to be able to handle them all. So we do have a small portion of those that we do also consult. For the local inspection program, we knew right away that we were just going to consult those. So we put an RFP out. We basically split the state into like 4 regions and hired consultants to do those, with the exception of one county that opted out. By state law, they have the ability to do that. So far, it's been okay. We had to make some revisions, but we were a little concerned there may be more to follow, but that has not happened, and so we're happy about that. The additional thing that we did with the inspection program is we decided, for a number of reasons, that we needed to get an inspection app. We'd had an in-house app that we'd used. It was okay, needed a bunch of rework, and we just decided that we needed, for efficiency and then consistency, keeping everything uniform, all of our inspections and all of our other reporting and all of that, since we were now consulting. So the state, like I said, we divided it into 2 regions. And I'm going to try this. We have the East region, which basically kind of goes along here, and it's not as big, but this is along the Red River, lots of other small rivers and creeks, and so they're the majority. We have a larger than, normal a number of bridges here. We kind of made the West region, we sort of split it here, but since we couldn't do it all, the inspectors are out of Bismarck and Grand Forks. So the Bismarck region is something like this, and then there's the East, and then this region up here, kind of in the north central and northwest, we have consulted. The other thing that we did, and in hindsight was a very good idea, is we made sure that all of the inspectors were certified team leaders. That proved to be a very wise decision. Our state bridge inspection program and the opportunities that It really helped having the inspectors as part of the bridge division. It improved our communication and our understanding between bridge division and the inspectors. We had kind of a disconnect. We didn't have good communication. They would go out and they would do the inspections and they didn't really understand, like, is anybody even using this? Why do we have to do all of this work and not, we do it, we put it on paper and it just goes in the file and there you go. Well, they didn't realize that we really were using it. It's helped us explain to them better what we're doing with the information, and in turn it's made them all much better inspectors. They understand why they're doing it. It's understandable for us, a lot of us. Once you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, it means more to you. You do a better job. What were some of the challenges? Well, as I mentioned, we had 2 teams, and we require 2 inspectors on every inspection. And the first year, we had very little issue with that. The second year, we had a little bit more. We had, there's this thing called the pandemic that we're going through, so of course that affected it. And so all of a sudden, we have 1 team with 1 person, and we have to find another person, and we have 1 person in Bridge Division who ended up going out with them occasionally. We reached out to districts to find a maintenance person that could also go out, and we made do. We were fortunate, but it was challenging, and having both of them as team leaders, at least we were able to do that. The other thing is that for our bigger bridges, we really can't do it with 1 2-person team, so we end up getting both teams together. So for the LPA inspection program, I don't know for sure how well you can see it, but there's basically 4 colored dots. Then those are our bridges, and those are the regions, and then there's a little purple corner down in the southwest in this area that was the county that opted out. And thankfully they have relatively few bridges and they're in good condition, and so it hasn't been a huge issue. But it was interesting for us. We'd never consulted any inspections before. We included the county and municipal, state parks, anything that wasn't a state-owned structure that we were responsible for inspecting was included in this group. The thing that we decided early on, after talking to a few different DOTs, is that we were going to maintain control of the contracts and everything that was happening. Local government, our local government division, was basically the one that dealt with the contracts. And so there's a few of the consultants that are here that deal with them a lot. And then any technical issues we would deal with in Bridge Division. So that was kind of how and then local government and Bridge Division worked together a lot to get the rest, just to make sure there's continuity and everything else getting done. And we required the inspection app again so that we would be having uniformity and stuff. So some of the opportunities and challenges. We could deal directly with the consultants. We both had a lot to learn, I think. They didn't understand, they obviously never inspected any of our bridges before because we'd never had consultants in the state. So there were a lot of things, every state does things a little differently, and so there were a lot of things they needed to learn. There were a lot of things that we needed to learn about them and how they did things. And so there's a lot of questions and clarifications. The second year has been better, but there still has been a fair amount of that. We have really increased the measure of our compliance with the metrics, accuracy, detail, consistency, and it was great having a new set of eyes on all the bridges. These are local agency bridges. Some of them have 2 cars a day. One of those things that's kind of like, yeah, it's easy to sort of not, kind of ignore some of the things, but in reality, we can't, right? Our load rating program is the other focus. With the load rating program, this is one of my favorite cartoons. I don't know if you can all read it or not, but, or if you know Calvin and Hobbes. Unfortunately, it's not quite how it works. A little brief history. In 2012, we did a review of the load rating program. At that time, we had 1 qualified, conscientious, experienced load rater, and he was also the bridge inspection program manager, and it was too much. It was too much. So we had a lot of deficiencies, LRFR and LFR methods, legal loads not checked. We didn't always look at shear. We had load posting issues. So in 2012, also, there was a PCA that was developed. 2014, it was revised, and in 2019, we hired the load rating engineer who had had no load rating experience before this, very little bridge experience at all, and is just gotten up to speed and is doing a phenomenal job. That has been a good thing. And we're on track to get our PCA resolved, we think. We have to. We were told this is it, end of the line. But in 2019, we did a thorough review of all the existing load ratings. State load ratings, not too bad. Mostly complete. We did a few more, and the local system was, again, not where it needed to be. Not where it needed to be. So the determination was made that in addition to the inspections, the consultants would also be required to load rate every bridge that they inspected for the first 2 years. And those inspections are all due in June of 22. And our PCA deadline is 12 of 22. And so we are hopeful that we are going to get all of our load ratings done, including all of the SHVs, SUVs, EVs where needed. So again, we developed a new manual also. Bridge management program, asset management, big deal, very challenging. We have a long ways to go. This is one area that I did get involved in prior to my position that I'm in now, and it's challenging. So we're working on deterioration modeling and condition forecasting. We are continuing to refine those performance measures, the TAMP, all of those wonderful things. BRM and our BRM system, in the midst of everything else, they decided to unify the IT division at the North Dakota take the North Dakota DOT and unify the IT through the state of North Dakota. So where we had a dedicated person prior, we no longer had a dedicated person. We still can work with the same person, very challenging, because we have to reach out to them all the time, So it's presented some more challenges, which again, that's something we're working through, making a little bit of headway on it. It'll continue to be a challenge. And the inventory and data management, and then of course the elephant in the room, the Snippy, and when will that get approved, and what impact is that going to have? We know it's going to have a big impact. We just don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we know that as far as particularly for the data management and bridge management, asset management part of our system, it's going to be very challenging. Bridge preservation, we continue to work on. In 2015, I started doing district visits. Would typically be 2 of us from Bridge Division, but this was one of my primary focuses when I started in the bridge management section, is to get the preservation system up and running. There was a little bit being done. Every district was doing different things, different ways. Some were doing a fair amount, some were doing very little. It was a way to get out there. We went out, we talked to them one-on-one, talked about what they were doing, how were they doing it, what more did they want to do, why should they be doing more, benefits, and just being a support. So if they had questions about materials and things, they would be able to contact somebody. The picture here is one of my favorite because, yes, it's a little, someone said, kind of hokey looking, but this particular division has relatively short bridges. They wanted to do silane treatments. It had been prescribed. It was in our maintenance manual since it was developed in 2008. 9 timeframe. It had never been done. The districts had never done it. So they came up with a system where they could get enough on one of their existing tractors. They built the spray bar, they sized the nozzles, they did all of the work themselves, put this together, and were able to efficiently go out and silane seal all of their bridges. It's one of those things that I think is innovation at its best. Not a huge, not high-techy, not a huge cost investment, but a way to take something, the knowledge and the need, and go out and actually do something with it. Bridge preservation, what we need to bridges in good condition. And we got basically all of the districts now doing their sweeping, cleaning, flushing. Nearly all crack sealed at least some of their bridges. Most have crack sealed all of them. The majority have gotten at least some of their bridges silane treated. So it's really been a change, and it's a continuous, all of this, right? All of this is continuous improvement. We need to continue always to inspect, load rate, manage, and preserve the bridges. Doesn't matter where we're at, there's always ways we can do things a little bit better. With our new structure in the bridge management section, and the fact that we have, even though the positions are individualized, focus on load rating, focus on inspection, and focus on data management, they all have pieces of their job descriptions where they work with the others. And I'm very fortunate to have, and I think one of my team members is here, I'm not exactly sure where he's at, if he's in this room, but I have a great team. The 3 engineers that I have in the office work wonderfully together. We share a lot, we work together. One's gone, somebody else picks up. It has made a tremendous improvement in the way that we do things there. And it's similar with the inspections and the fact that we have 2 teams, but the teams work together. We require them to work together some, but they work together well. They communicate with each other. When they have questions about something, they talk to the other one. And so that is how we will continue to safely move people and goods. That's our mission, from the DOT. So, are there any questions? I feel like I sort of raced through that, but if there's any questions, I would be happy if I have a few minutes.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.